Hi, this is Ms. Lancaster, and we're now on Chapter 10, which is about work in the economy. So this chapter is going to be discussing all of the social problems that are in relationship to work in the economy. You can see in the picture, there's a lot of words that relate to this. This chapter is actually, I find kind of really interesting because it really digs into some of the stuff that we've already talked about, but then it really also brings us into how work is a huge piece of our lives. So most of us will have a love-hate relationship with work and the economy. But when we really think about it, the jobs that we do, the work that we have helps to place us in the economy. But we have to step back and think about it sociologically. The economy helps place us in the jobs that we are able to do as well. Okay, so it is kind of that, chicken and egg kind of story. We have to really think about where we grow up, how we grow up, the opportunities that have been given to us could shape where we end up. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's what our parents did is going to relate to what we do, but it does kind of shape us and influence us. But this chapter really, really does kind of dig down into what is work and what is the economy. So thinking about it, when we work for either a wage or a salary. We work for benefits, we work for compensation. Okay. Some of the biggest problems in this, in this area of our social world is going to be unemployment. It's going to be discrimination. We've already just talked about discrimination. There is occupational segregation. That is a form of, it can be seen as a form of discrimination. We've seen this in the gender chapter. Okay, and the race chapter, discrimination. We've seen both of these issues in the past. We will be looking really deeply into different types of unemployment and how unemployment actually shapes and is shaped by the economy. I have some really good videos for you that I feel are really, really going to be helpful for kind of explaining how unemployment rate is calculated. Some other videos that'll be really good. Talk about what the labor market is and minimum wage, the economic structure in the labor market. And I do have a great video from the Khan Academy that kind of really digs into how the unemployment rate is calculated and how that rate itself and the way that it's calculated can really kind of be problematic in truly understanding our economy, because many times when we see our unemployment rate go down, we automatically think that the economy is getting better, but that can also be a sign of the economy is really not improving. Okay, so I'm not going to give you any clues to that because I want you to watch that Khan Academy to kind of dig into that. I do want to, though, I'm going to change my picture here. I do want to kind of talk about jobs. And there are different types of jobs, but there are also, as you can see here, these individuals are looking for jobs, right? So this has to do with unemployment, okay? So when we're looking at the unemployment and how unemployment is calculated, as a whole, unemployment, all societies, all economies, even the best economy have some unemployment. And that's because there are different types of unemployment. So I'm going to just real quick discuss the three types of unemployment. I think your book does a really good job of discussing it, but sometimes students do get confused a little bit. There are three key types. They are frictional, cyclical, and structural. Okay, so frictional unemployment is the type of unemployment when you're just tired of your job, right? Or maybe you're moving to another area and you quit, right? You leave your job in hopes to go get another job. Right? You may or may not have another job already lined up, but it's frictional, it's short term, it's the type of unemployment that most of us have probably experienced at some point in our lives when we were either just fed up with the job that we had and we decided we didn't want it anymore, or we moved from one area to another and had to look for a new job in that new location. Frictional unemployment, again, it happens in all economies. It's much more likely to happen when the economy is better, because there are more opportunities. If we feel that there are more opportunities for other jobs, we feel a little bit more secure to leave the job that we're currently in. However, again, it is the type of thing where it it's not economy based, okay? Now, the second type is cyclical unemployment. And cyclical unemployment is the type of unemployment that exists in cycles, okay? When we talk about cyclical unemployment, we really want to kind of focus on how there are cycles of times, right, where we move from one aspect of the economy to another. Okay, so cyclical unemployment occurs during periods of weak economic growth. Okay, it seems almost inevitable that this is going to happen in the way that our economy works. Okay, so cyclical, where we go through, and one of the videos actually will kind of show patterns of unemployment that I'll show you, that it talks about how to understand the employment rate and how we go through patterns, and you'll really be able to, by watching that video, see the cycles, right? The cycles. So when we have weak unemployment, a weak economy, our unemployment rate will be higher, but as our economy improves, our unemployment rate will be lower. Now, again, like I said, though, sometimes we have to really kind of step back and look at it, but it's just that the economy goes through cycles, right? Right now, we're going through a cycle due to what I would actually refer to as the third type, a structural unemployment. Now, your book defines structural unemployment as joblessness as a result of major changes in the basic structure of the economy. Okay, some examples of structural unemployment is when we look at what happens when, when we've had major changes in our economy with different types of jobs, right? Throughout history, at one point in time, factories were well, first agriculture and then factories, right? These were large types of employment. And, structurally, as things change, as technology improves, right? As technology changes, the workforce changes, and it creates a change. When there's a change in the workforce, it's going to change the economy. And this is structural. So anything, when we talk in sociology and we talk about structural, we are talking big picture. We could actually really just step back and see many, many aspects of structural unemployment. When we look at the large groups of people are losing their jobs at one time, we could really actually think about COVID right now that actually created the structural unemployment when the economy had to be stopped, kind of. When we really think about it, the job force had to be stopped in order to try to contain, right? There's lots of arguments and disagreements about this, and I'm not even going to get into that. But a big piece of what happened with our economy and with unemployment right now was that there was a stop, right? A stop in the economy, because a stop in the workforce because of a pandemic that was out of anybody's control, right? So we've already seen that employment is back up, right? Unemployment has gone down because people have gone back to work, okay? But it also could be that in some instances that unemployment rate has shifted down a little bit because people have given up looking for work because the type of jobs that they were doing is no longer there. We can really look at this. I am sitting in my living room lecturing to you right now. So we can see how the structure of our jobs in many instances have changed as well. So just kind of really thinking about this structural unemployment is one that we would have more fear of. We don't want it to be a long-term thing, but it is a real shift in society. Structural and cyclical unemployments are the ones that economists and sociologists and individuals that are looking at social policies and things like that are much more concerned about. Frictional, not so much, because that's always going to exist. Okay, so just real quick, I want to share one more picture that I have, and these are the types of jobs. And again, these kind of will relate to the type of economy and maybe even the types of unemployment, because there are different individuals who are going to experience, different levels of unemployment. So I'm just kind of sharing these different images to kind of get you thinking and really think about what this chapter is about. Again, most of us have a love-hate relationship with work. Our jobs, our employment, whether we're unskilled labor, whether we're a wage employee, whether we're semi-skilled, whether we're contract labor, right? If we're part of the gig economy, depending on what type of jobs we have, it really will place us either the primary sector or the secondary sector of jobs. That's going to place us in our status in society, right? In our position in society. But the education that we have can also help to place us in those positions. Something to kind of remember as you're reading through the chapter and as you're watching these videos, really think about the theories, the key theories that we've been learning about. Structural functionalism talks about how everything in society has a purpose, has a function. Our jobs have a function, right? The economy has a function. All jobs are necessary. All jobs are important. But really, the demand for those jobs will determine our pay, right? The competition for those jobs will determine our pay. But then that kind of brings us to, when we talk about competition, it brings us more into a conflict perspective, right? When we really think about conflict perspective, it is talking about how those that are controlling our economic system and that are controlling our workforce will have a better mindset of how to determine what the worker gets, right? Classic Karl Marx theory, and I know they talk a little bit more about C. Wright Mills in this chapter, but he talks about the power elite. He talks about individuals in society that have more power, but it brings us right back to the classic of the bourgeoisies versus the proletariats, right? Those that have the power to control the economic system will do so because it benefits them. However, what it does is it places, if we think about it from a conflict perspective, the workers in competition with one another, right? All jobs are important. However, some have more demands than others. Some will require more education than others, and that really kind of sets us up to compete, right? Functionalism talks about motivation. Conflict talks about competition. Both of these pieces are the same, right? If we really think about it, glass half full, glass half empty, it's the same amount of water, okay? It's the same amount of water if I'm looking at the glass, but if you're seeing the glass is half full or you're seeing the glass is half empty, it's still the same amount of water. Whether I'm motivated or whether I'm competing, they kind of go hand in hand. I was a runner when I was in college, right? When I was in high school. There was never, ever a time that I competed where I wasn't motivated to take on that part, right? To try to win or to do my best, right? And when I'm motivated to do that, I'm much more likely to compete, okay? Just really kind of think about that. Why are you all in school? You are not necessarily feeling like you're competing against your classmates, but you are motivated, right, to get the best, to get the best grades that you can so that you can get your degree, so that you can go out and compete in the workforce because you are motivated to get the better job. Now, but what is a better job? This is where symbolic interactionism, right? Symbolic interactionism talks about how we have these symbols, we have these meanings, we have these shared understandings of what society looks like and what these expectations are. And we will use those when we really think about the economic system and the job market, right? What is a desirable job or undesirable job? Do I want to be considered an unskilled labor or do I want to be skilled, right? Do I want to be a wage earner or a salary earner, right? Do I want a blue collar job or a white collar job? That's kind of where symbolic interactionism comes in because we have these definitions, we have these mindsets, we have these ideas of what is expected, okay? So make sure to read the chapters, the chapter, not chapters, but read the chapter. Watch the videos. There's going to be, I believe I think I've picked 4 videos for you this chapter. Watch all of those videos. I picked these videos because I think that they really can give you a lot of information that I would have been giving you in class if we were. This is like a 10 maximum, hopefully 15-minute video. I can't give you a whole lot, right, in this short amount of time. So please watch those videos. Post your discussion boards, post them early so that hopefully I can get back to and answer your questions, okay? Do your issues and controversies and take your quiz. And let me know if you have any questions. And that's all for now, but email me or use the weekly reflection journal. Have a great day, everyone.